little song about my old cousin, y'all. Yeah. Give me some horns.
Hello, Mr. Bill poker fans. Welcome to this vlog. This one is all about the WinStar River poker series.
Come on, y'all, just take me to the river.
I think they had 7 or 8 events. I only played in the main event and mega satellites. I played in 3 mega satellites. The mega satellites are $550 tournaments where the 20% plus 8 players get a $2,500 lammer to the main event. I played in 3 of those and I whiffed them all. Oh my goodness. So it was kind of interesting, disappointing also, because previously I'd cashed in 12 out of 25 of the previous mega satellites where there's a survivor. Now that's over like 6 years. At the river, I've actually done pretty well. I won an event in 2014. I came in 3rd at an event in 2015. And then last year I chopped an event that we chopped at 3. So I had done pretty well in the rivers. Now, the main event I hadn't done quite as well. I've played in 4 of them. I only cashed in 1, and it was not a very good cash. So the main events I haven't done as well at, but I have done well in the other tournaments there. The megas I've killed, and just need to do a little bit better on the main event. But we'll see here in a minute. I enjoy playing in the river because it's my home casino, so I know the dealers. I know a lot of the players. It's cool to have the pros come in from all around the country to your home and play there, so that's kind of cool. I like playing against those guys. It gives you a real feel for where you're at, and they obviously playing against those guys can make your game a lot better also. This vlog is going to be about an $1,100 bounty survivor that I played in and about the main event. So with that, on to the WinStar River series. Friday, August 31st, about to go play in the $1,100 bounty survivors for the main event. So let's go. It's the last day of August. You haven't had a very good year. I need to have a tremendous last third of the year to even come close. I'm just barely over even for the year, so you just pick it up. So in this tournament, there was 239 entries. 56th got $2,000, and then 55 through 1, or I guess there's no 1, all got a $2,500 lammer. I've only played 1 hand in level 1.
Sure I remember.
I got 0 cards, and that 1 hand was it checked around me in the big blind. So at least I can say I'm being patient. No cards at all. So we're playing on level 2, which was 75-150, and I had literally played 1 hand up to this point. It's funny, even though this is level 2, this is probably the most important hand I had of the bounty tournament. I'm in middle position 1 with Queen of Spades, Jack of Diamonds. I have 14,400. It folds to me. I make it 400, and the button calls. The flop with 1,025 is 10 of clubs, 8 of clubs, 3 of spades. I make it 600. He raises to 1,500. Well, I decided I'm going to call because I got a plan, and I'm going to represent something very large. And he's got to give me credit because I haven't played any hands. So anyhow, I made the call. The turn with 4,025 is absolutely beautiful. The 8 of spades. So now I can rep an overpair. As long as he doesn't have an 8, I should be good. So I lead into him for 2,300, and he tanks and makes the call. The river with 66-25 is the 6 of diamonds. I lead for 6,100, and he folds. Woo! What I didn't know is this guy was ended up being a really good player. In fact, a pretty sticky player. So I got him to fold. Later on in the tournament, he made the money, and we talked about this hand. I told him the most important hand was the one I played with you early on, and he remembered it, and he said, "You didn't have a 10 or an overpair?" I said, nope, 100% total bluff. So he said, hey, great play, because he said it was tough for him to lay it down, but he had 10 king, he said. So anyhow, got that one through. Very, very important. So I still wasn't getting any hands, although I had more chips than average because of that hand. So on level 3, 100, 200, I'm in middle position with pocket queens. I have 18,000. The end of the gun makes it 200. The +1 raises to 600. I decide to flat as opposed to raise. The button calls and the end of the gun calls. So we're going 4 ways to the flop, 2,700 in the pot, and the flop comes 10 of hearts, 6 of hearts, 4 of diamonds. It's checked. The +1 makes it 1,100. I decide to make the call. There's a fold, and then the under the gun raises to 3,300. I got an overpair. I've got a queen of hearts. I decide, the +1 folds, and I decide to make the call. The turn is the 9 of hearts. He bets 4,800. I didn't believe that he had a flush. I went all in for 14,100. He tanked for just a minute and then folded. So yes, I got that one through also. So with blinds at 400, 800, and 100, Annie, I'm in the cutoff with ace king, and I have 54K. The under the gun makes it 2,000. Middle position goes all in for 1,800. The hijack calls. I decide to go all in. The under the gun folds, and the hijack calls for 6,800 more. So it turns out the under the gun had 3 5 of hearts. The hijack had pocket 2s, and I have ace king, and this is for 2 bounties. The board runs out queen, 8, 7, 10, 6. Ugh! I had a chance to make $1,000 on that, and instead I lost, what, 68, about 8,800 chips. Now I had a lot of chips. I was way the cheap leader at the table, so it was no big deal. But I sure could have used the 2 bounties. So same level, 400, 800 with 100 Annie, and I get pocket queens in the +1, and I have 50K. The under the gun limps. I make it 2,100. It comes everybody else folds. It comes back to the end of the gun, and he does probably the worst job of acting that I've ever seen. Hemming and hawing, and oh, what am I going to do? And he decides to flat call. I have no doubt that he's got aces. The flop comes jack of diamonds, 3 of diamonds, 4 of clubs. It goes check, check. The turn, bingo bongo, queen of hearts. He bet 6,500. I go all in. He absolutely snap calls. He had 14,500 more. And he was saying, yes, I have him trapped. And I showed my pocket queens, and he kind of went a little bit crazy. And he said, oh my gosh, I knew I had you trapped. And then he got unlucky. And he did get unlucky. But of course, he didn't blame me for calling. I've got pocket queens. He just was unhappy that he got unfortunate. And I won another bounty chip. And I got a lot of chips again, too.
Second break at the Bounty Survivor Tournament. My goal today was to get 2 bounty chips and the lammer. So far I've got 3 bounty chips, and I've got 71K, average is 54K, and there's only 10 more to the money. So I should be good unless something very unusual happens. I'd like to get 1 more bounty, but the lammer is way more important, so I'm not going to jeopardize not getting the lammer to get a bounty. So, but we'll see. Only 10 to go to the money, so we should be good.
So a little bit after the second break, I was just in a dominating position. I had already gotten 3 bounties, and I was chipping up. At some point, I got to where I had over 200,000. The next closest had 80,000, and there was like still 9 players. So I was simply playing every hand, trying to get another bounty. And in fact, I got 3 more bounties by doing that strategy. I knocked out 63rd and 57th. I remember that. And I must have knocked out one other one. So I ended up getting 6 bounties plus my own, which is a 7th bounty because I got that $500 back. It was great. But just the feeling of dominance, the feeling of power. I've been on the other side of it where somebody else is doing that shoving on every single hand, and it just feels awful. So to be the one that has all the chips, to basically raise every single hand, or I could have gone all in every hand, it wouldn't have mattered. I actually played some where I actually limped in because I wanted the guy that was on the big blind to happen to maybe get a hand when I got a bigger hand. So, but it was just a great feeling to be able to do whatever I wanted to.
All right, the Mega Satellite is over. I ended up getting 7 bounties for $3,500. I also got the Lammer for $2,500. So I got getting 6K for the day. That's just pretty darn good. I'll be playing in the main event on Sunday. So way to go, Mr. Bill Poker. Second day one of the river is going to start in about 20 minutes. The goal is to get these chips by the end of the day, Tuesday. Let's go. So on the last hand of level 2, I'm under the gun with Jack of Clubs, Queen of Clubs. I have 28K. I make it 400. Middle position 2, a very, very aggressive player makes the call, and the button and the big blind's called. So do we go to a flop with 1675, and it comes 10 of clubs, 9 of clubs, 2 of diamonds. I flop open-ended, straight flush draw, pretty nice. I make it 1,000. The middle position, aggressive player calls, and the other 2 players fold. So the turn with 3675 is the 10 of spades, not the greatest of cards. Now I know this player is going to bet, so I decide to check. He makes it 2,000, and I make the call. The river with 9675 in the pot is the 3 of clubs, giving me a flush. I check. He bets 5,000 before I even get finished with saying the word check, and of course I snap call. He shows Jack 7 offsuit, and I had my flush. So now I have 37K as level 2 ends. This next hand is level 3. It's against the other chip leader. I'm in middle position with 9 of diamonds, 10 of diamonds. I have 27,500. The under the gun makes it 800. I call, and the button and the small blinds call. So the flop with 3750 comes Jack of clubs, 3 of diamonds, 4 of hearts, and it checks around. I was ready to give up, but hey, it checked around. All right. The turn now, different story, is now the Queen of spades, so I'm open-ended. It goes check, and the middle position player makes it 1,200. He was the other big stack. I call, and the other 2 players fold. The river with 6150, bingo bongo. The king of diamonds, now I have a straight. He leads out for 2,000. I raise to 6,000, and he absolutely snap calls. And he's got pocket jacks for a flopped top set, only to be beaten on the river by my straight. So this next hand is played against the same aggressive player I beat on the first hand where I had the flush. I'm under the gun with King of Clubs, Jack of Diamonds. I have 37K. Blinds are 200, 400 with 50 ante. I don't do this very often in tournaments, but it was such an aggressive table I decided I was going to go ahead and limp. The loose player and middle position called, and the small blind called, and the big blind checked. So I actually made it around with a limped pot. The flop with 2100 came Jack of hearts, 6 of diamonds, 7 of diamonds. It checks to me. I make it 1,000, and the aggressive middle position player calls. The other 2 fold. The turn with 4,100 in the pot is the 8 of spades. Again, I know this guy's going to bet. I have top pair with a good kicker. I'm going to let him go ahead and bet. So I check. He makes it 2,000, and I make the call. The river with 8,100 in the pot is another 6, the 6 of hearts. I think that's a great card for me. I check, and of course he cannot help himself. He bets 3,300. I snap call. He shows 2 3 of diamonds, missed flush, and a 3 high.
So I was doing very well in the main, and then I hit a really kind of a rough patch where I was getting good cards but not hitting any flops. So I had gotten all the way up to 50,000, and then fill lock, up stuck. I lost hand after hand where I had ace king or pocket middle pocket pair and lost. Eventually I got down to a starting stack, which felt like I had nothing, and lost another hand, and finally we got to this hand. Originally I thought I played it horrible. I looked again, and actually I think I played it pretty well. So we'll see what you guys think. So blinds are 500, 1,000 with a 100 ante. I have Jack of Diamonds, Ace of Diamonds on the button. I have 21,400. There's one limper. I make it 3,500, and the big blind calls. On the flop, there's 9,500. It comes Queen of Hearts, 10 of Diamonds, 3 of Clubs. I have a gutter ball. It checks to me. I make it 2,200, and the big blind makes the call. The other player folds. On the turn, 13,900 of the pot is the 9 of Hearts. I want to represent an overpair. I've been playing very, very tight, so I'm going to continue the story. He checks. I make it 4,400, and he makes the call. So at this point, I'm putting him on a queen, maybe with a combo draw, but I have every intention of betting large on the river and getting him off the queen unless another queen comes or another bad card. So the river is the 6 of Hearts. It actually seems pretty innocent to me. I know there's 3 hearts on the board, but it went turn river hearts. So he checks. I shove all in for 11,200, and he goes in the tank. And he says, well, I don't know if this is a good card or not. I hit the card I wanted. Maybe it was a bad card for me. And he tanked for a long time and eventually made the call with Queen Jack of Hearts. So he ended up hitting his flush. He had said if he didn't hit his card, he would have gone away. So that's why I think, in retrospect, of course, I got knocked out, so I felt bad. But in retrospect, as I look back at it, I think I had him folding to maybe even 2 pair. I'm not sure about that. But, you know, if any kind of blank comes, he's absolutely snap folding his top pair of queens. Again, I was playing tight. I was representing an overpair, and it just didn't work out this time. So, main event, no good. So getting knocked out of the main was a little bit disappointing, discouraging, of course, because I have not done real well. And then there's always the question is, when you get knocked out of a tournament, should you go play cash? Well, the answer is, of course, yes for me. I have absolutely been killing it in the cash game for the past month. So I went there. I really didn't feel tilty, although I was a little bit angry and discouraged about how I played. But I decided I'm going to go play because I've been killing the game. So it was a pretty good, lively 2-5 cash game, lots of action. I kept chipping up and I was doing well, and then I would run into hands against Billy that you're going to see here. And then I would chip up and run into hand against Billy, and and we'll see what happens. Oh, and by the way, this is not my son Billy. This is another Billy who's a regular at WinStar. On this first hand, I have King of Clubs, Queen of Diamonds in the cutoff. I have 800. I'd started with 500. Billy just got to the game, and he had 500. So there's 2 limpers. Billy makes it 25. I make the call, and both limpers fold. The flop, with 67 in the pot, comes King 10-4. I flop top pair, good kicker. Billy leads for 35. I decide to go ahead and make the call. The turn with 137 in the pot is a queen, so now I've got top 2. Billy leads out for 75. I raise to 200, and Billy shoves all in for 440. I make the call, not going anywhere. The river is an 8, and he shows Ace Jack. So my turned top 2 gave him Broadway. Ugh. So I chipped back up again. Now this time I've got 650. I'm under the gun +1, and I have Ace 10. Billy, under the gun, makes it 25. I make the call. Everybody else folds. So the flop with 57 in the pot comes Ace 8-6. He leads out for 25. I make the call. The turn with 107, a 10. Very, very nice. He leads for 75. I decide I'm not going to get in the same boat I was last time in case he has 9-7 or something like that. And I make the call. The river with 257 is an innocent 3. He bets 175. I decide again, I'm not going to raise this. I make the call, and wouldn't you know, he turns over pocket 10s. He had a 1-outer on that turn, and he beat me again. At least it wasn't, I didn't lose as much money this time. But golly, I kept chipping up, giving it to Billy. Chipping up, giving it to Billy. Ugh. So as I said, this cash game was pretty darn aggressive. And here's the biggest hand that we played all night. First of all, Daniel from Russia was the dealer. And Daniel's probably my favorite dealer at WinStar, although I like a lot of the other ones too. But Daniel's a great guy. He actually is a vlog watcher. So Daniel, shout out, buddy. I'd put your picture on here if I had it. Anyhow, I have Queen of Clubs, Jack of Hearts under the gun. I have $570. I raised a 20, and the middle position 1, who has been pretty much raising everything, makes a really big raise, 150. And then something interesting happened. There were 3 callers to me, the button, the small blind, and the big blind. Well, now I've got a great price to make this call, so I decided to go ahead and make the call. So there's 5 of us to the flop, 750 in the pot already. And the flop comes Ace of Diamonds, King of Diamonds, 10 of Hearts. Holy cow, I flopped Broadway. Although I know that somebody's probably got diamonds at least, and maybe a set. Anyhow, it checks to me. I'm not messing around. I have 420 left. I shove it all in there. Middle position 1, snap calls, comes around to the button, and he calls for a little bit less. I think he had 380. The board runs out. 3 of clubs, Jack of Diamonds. Ugh, I don't like that at all. MP1 shows pocket kings, so he had a set of kings, and the button showed Ace 10. Yes, I win the whole thing, over $1,900 in that pot. Fantastic for me. So that hand just goes to show that, you know what, you can't be afraid to play pots where it's a little bit big pre-flop if you're getting the right odds to do it. And I did, and I was rewarded this time, even though I was probably behind to the other players. The very, very next hand, I'm on the big blind. I'm still counting my chips from the other one and stacking them. I get Ace 10. I have $1,900 or so. There's 3 limpers to me. I make it 20. Too small a raise. I should make that like 30 or 35, but I didn't. MP2, very, very loose player, makes the call. The flop, and the others folded. The flop with 55 in the pot comes Ace 7-7. Now this guy was bluffing on 50% of his hand, so I know he's going to bet if I check it. So I check. He bets 25. I make the call. The turn with 105 in the pot is a queen. I check. He bets 75. I make the call. And the river, interesting card, is another queen. I check. He bets 200. I absolutely snap call. I don't know how the queen could have helped him. The only thing he's beaten me with is probably a 7. And he shows king high. I think he had king 9.
So I ended up having a good session, but it would have been an absolutely fantastic session if I had not lost those 2 hands against Billy. Both of them were just brutal for me. But of course, had you won those hands, you win not only what I had lost, but I won his money too. I mean, I would have had a $3,000 day, but for those 2 hands. Anyhow, of course, I should look at the good side of it. Had I not won that huge hand when I was probably behind pre-flop, then it could have been a really bad day. So I was happy about that one. So bottom line for the WinStar River Series this past weekend was I bought it for $1,100 on the Mega and cashed out for $6,000. That was nice. Main event cost me $2,500, and then I won $870 in the cash game. And I actually had a
horse in the main. I'm going to get another $650 some from Rob Jenkins, who we traded 10% of each other, and he did very, very well. So good job, Rob. Yay me for trading with you. Of course, Rob and I are going to trade all the time now because he's my new study partner, and he's got a really good game. He likes what I do also, so we're going to trade whenever we're in a big tournament together. So in the main, I had two friends that went into the money. Congratulations to Doug Gerda, who I played with in my league. I haven't played with Doug in a league for a while, but he's still a buddy. I still see him at WinStar often, and he's a good player. Doug came in 82nd and got 4460. And then, as I mentioned, Rob Jenkins came in 54th, and he got 6280. Congratulations, both you guys. Great job. So it wouldn't be a vlog if I didn't make an update on Billy. So remember from the last vlog, he was going to start his season for the games that really counted in the standings. Billy got hurt the day before the season in practice, 5 minutes before the practice ended, and he got a high ankle sprain and is out 4 to 6 weeks. So discouraging. Billy had worked hard during the summer. In the preseason games, exhibition games, he had been playing 60, 65 minutes a game, had been playing really, really well, but he didn't get to play. So he is out 4 to 6 weeks. We're getting him some therapy, some massage therapy, and he's doing stuff with his trainers. And of course, we are praying for Billy's 100% healing and recovery, and that he'll get back on the field and be just as good as he was before, which I'm sure he will. He's a fantastic player. So, in fact, I think I'm taking it harder than Billy is. So, but we're going to look forward to Billy getting back on the field, and I'll let you guys know. And thank you guys so much for watching and subscribing and pressing the buttons. I'd really love to get the comments. So give me comments about what you think about the River Series and maybe my new studying with Rob. How do you study? What importance do you put on having a study partner or study groups? It was interesting. It took me 8 months to get 500 subscribers, and then it took me 1 week to go to over 600. Something happened. I'm not sure if I was put on Neeme's or Owen's or Jaman's vlog for some reason, or on 2+2 forum or something, but all of a sudden I had a big spike, and hopefully that will continue. But again, thank you guys for watching. That just makes my day. All right, that's going to do it for this vlog. I will see you guys all again next week.